And Clark gives a round of applause to all.
Yep, that's what you see. The Indiana Fever took down the mighty, mighty Minnesota Lynx. I will get into details after this.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, so we had the Minnesota Lynx versus the Indiana Fever, which the Indiana Fever got the win. Yeah, they got the win. Was it impressive? Nope. Was this game remind you of a game from the 90s? Slow-paced defense? Yeah. But as I was watching this game was very slow, very methodic. Both teams could not hit from the outside. The only person seen that was making shots was Alana Smith from the Lynx. She was cooking in the first half until she started getting into foul trouble. When I looked at the Fever schedule a while back, I said, especially with Nafia Caller out, I did say that the Fever could win that game. And the one thing I start doing now is watching how other teams play. How can the Fever exploit these other teams? And there's one clear way that they could do it. Run. No team in the Wnba could run with the Indiana Fever. We see what happens when Caitlin Clark has the ball in her hand and she's pushing pace. She draws so much gravity to her where teams get sucked in because they focus so much on stopping her when, you got the others. And if the others is getting off, then that changes the dynamic. And what's good about Caitlin, when she has the ball in her hand, and especially if she gets a rebound off and pushes the pace. And in this game, in the first 3 quarters, especially in the first quarter, you didn't see that. Chrissy Sides always tried to feed the post. Some games you just can't damn feed the post. The order for Aaliyah Boston to get her touches, if you forcing the ball to her and they crowding her and they collapsing on her, you want your point guard to be able to create lanes for your post player to be able to have easy success getting the ball where she needed in her spots to make good shots. So Christy Sides decided to pull Caitlin Clark out of the game. Now, some people has an issue with it. Some of the fans have an issue with it, saying that, hey, Caitlin got pulled out the game because she was out for about 4 to 5 minutes, and Wheeler came in for a minute, and then Clark finally returned back with Lexi. I think she came back in there with Lexi Hall because she came and took Kelsey Mitchell out. But you can see the turnovers in the beginning. I believe Caitlin got 2 fouls, and that's probably why, because they had Christy Sides and her was on the sideline talking. Nevertheless, but the Fever, now the game was close. The game didn't get open until the 3rd quarter, which we all know that the Fever has always had issues with the 3rd quarter this year. And the lead went to 7. But by the time the 4th quarter came around, you saw in a different lineup. You saw Katie Lou, Boston, Mitchell, Lexi, and Clark. And with that lineup, the pace picked up. the ball was more in Caitlin's hand. She was being able to maneuver. She was able to do things. She was able to get people touches because she was so much of the focal point. Mitchell, she finally settled down. She started hitting shots. And the thing about Mitchell is when she plays with the system, in which the system is Caitlin Clark, she gets better opportunities to score. When she's being erratic and taking things in her own hand, it doesn't pan out well. In that game, Kayla McBride didn't have a good game. She only had 11 points. She only had 3 assists. She was 4-14 from the field. She was 2 for 10 because they were so worried about Caitlin to where they threw everybody at her. But as Caitlin took over the game down the stretch, with her moving around, getting her shots, driving to the basket. Me personally, I love when Caitlin drives to the basket because teams are so worried about her shooting the three. They scared to death about her hitting from the outside. But what changes the pace of the game is when she starts being physically taking her opponent to the basket and getting shots or getting and ones and or breaking their ankles. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing to see because Caitlin, she understands that. She understands where it's time for the team to need to rev it up. And Boston, shout out to her because she had a hell of a game. Like I said, this game by no means was spectacular. It was boring as hell. I mean, I was in the process of getting ready to go to work, and I watched the whole game before I even left the house to go to work. But the game was so slow-paced, it was kind of boring, and then everybody was just out of sorts. And this is the first time these two teams played each other also. But when the Fever and the Lynx went into halftime, it was tied 38-38 at halftime. The Fever led the first quarter with 20. They tied the second quarter, but the Lynx won that quarter by 1 point. Then the Lynx outscored them 22-15 in the third, and then the Fever outscored them 28-14 in the fourth. So you see the output of that. But you knew this game had every making of what it was. Cheryl Reeves, Caitlin Clark, her comments against Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has already played in the Target Center since college days, so she's familiar with that stadium. And plus, I was close to Minnesota, so you know it was a whole lot of Fever and Iowa fans there that took over the stadium. If you had watched the monologue in the beginning where you hear all the cheers. But nevertheless, the Fever grinded out. They buckled down on defense, and they finally get a win. Now, I want to give a special thanks. I want to give a special nod to Lexi Hall. Lexi Hall has been what we wanted from Celeste Taylor before she left, because I think Celeste Taylor and Lexi Hall in that lineup with Clark would have been, oh my God, it just would have been something beautiful. But Lexi Hall has gotten a lot of minutes now. She played 24 minutes. She only had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. She was 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. She had 1 steal, and she only had 3 personal fouls. But she was a +5. And you know why she was a +5? Because her defense. Her defense allowed her to cause trouble for McBride, cause trouble for other Lynx players. When she's out on the floor, she's so scrappy. She's all over the place. She's like a Draymond Green all over the place. She don't mind being physical, but she causes havoc in the game. Now, there was one point in the game where we got to see Caitlin Clark did Caitlin Clark's things. Take a look.
Found and Clark.
Not that one. That one either. Dang it. Yeah, she dropped another one. She break another ankle on them. Now, Chrissy Sides got to realize at some point in time, she has to let this stop slowing the game down. If the Fever had came out running like they did against Phoenix, they could have probably blown the Minnesota Lynx out, because Minnesota is not a running team. They very old schoolish. Like you can look how they built. They shoot from three. They're very good on defense and everything, because they was hounding Caitlin in the first half. They was hounding. They did not want her to get off. They didn't even want her to get her assist off. I mean, she only had 7 points in the first half. And I think by that time, she only had like two assists at that time also. So they was really worried about her getting her team off, because they knew they didn't want her to get a 10 assist game. A 10 assist game or 10 or 13 plus assists for her, Caitlin, would have probably put this team in the 90s. Now, I do want to talk about something prior to halftime. There's rumor about Caitlin Clark and Chrissy Sides getting into it in the locker room at halftime. They was arguing. Then it also was Nalissa Smith and Chrissy Sides getting into it at halftime. And the result was you did not see Nalissa Smith no more in the second half. You didn't see her no more, because Dantes came in the game. She got you 5 points. You know what I'm saying? She got you 5 points. She had 3 rebounds. She only played 5 minutes. She was 2 for 2 from the field, 1 for 3. But she was a -7, but because she didn't really do too much. Now, there was highlights I have seen of Victoria Saxon. Don't know why. And to be honest with you, with Tammy Finn-Billing probably coming back after the All-Star break and the Olympic break, and she has going to have over a month to heal that thumb. If she comes back, most likely the Nalissa Smith spot is gone. I think her and Chrissy Sides, more so Chrissy Sides and Caitlin, that's always a coach and a player. They always get at it. They always are. But I think it's mutual, it's respect for each other, because, and I think Chrissy Sides, she's learning how Caitlin is. So she at some point in time, Chrissy Sides is going to have to say, you know what, hey, you know what? All right, we're going to do it your way. You know, let's see what happens. But I think Nalissa Smith, she might get traded, to be honest with you. I think she might get traded because the situation, there's been a lot of incidents with Nalissa Smith in this season. You know what I'm saying? She done got benched numerous times. She already got disciplined again over a week ago. And now, she has, sometimes she gets in the game, she played well, and then she gets in the game again, she lacks luster. It's like she has these up and down games. And you can't have that when you trying to make a playoff run. You just can't have that at all. Now, I'm going to show you the play of the game that really sealed it for the Fever.
McBride draws the double. And now Smith has to go. What a play! Kelsey Mitchell with the block, and then Boston.
That play right there was the play of the game for the Fever, because Kelsey Mitchell is not known to block shots. Now, there was one block in the game by Caitlin Clark also. but that was the play of the game. That game right there sealed it. Kelsey, I think she got fouled, and then Caitlin got fouled after that, sealed the game, and that put the game away. Because you got to think about this. As slow as the game was, if Nafisa Collar had played, the Fever probably would have lost. Because the simple fact, Chrissy Sides continued to slow the game down. You cannot slow the game down at all at no point in time. You have to really focus on up-tempo because a lot of these teams don't like to run unless you're, great in endurance, like or you're taking PEDs like Agent Wilson. Oops, my bad. Did I say that? Where you don't get tired on the court. But if Caitlin likes to run and push the tempo, and you could tell other teams getting tired, that's your advantage to wear them out. Because guess what? They don't like to run. You look at that team, they don't like to run. They half court team. And when you play half court, 9 times out of 10, you playing into the opponent's hand because you can't execute. It doesn't allow Caitlin to be her best. The offense gets stagnant. And then you trying to force it down low, and then they all collapse down there, and then you got to rely on outside shooting when you could dribble, penetrate, and get the open shot that you need when you have it in your best player hand. And I want to say something because it's like certain people on YouTube that try to take shots at the Fever, especially when Kelsey Mitchell has a good game or Leah Boston has a good game, and they try to say, well, they're the best players on the team. Caitlin Clark is not the best player on the team. Let me explain something to you. Because Kelsey Mitchell had a big game, you can't count for her to have that all the time. But you damn sure could count Caitlin to have a good game every game. This probably was Caitlin's worst game today. But guess what? She affected the game in many ways. That's where your best player does. That's what a Michael Jordan does. That's what a Kobe Bryant does. You know what I'm saying? That's what a Steph Curry does. That's what a Joker does. They affect the game in different ways. They don't have to always be the leading scorer on a team. And, and it's just people just want to take shots at Caitlin Clark all the time and try to say, oh, she's not even the best player on the team because y'all dumbasses don't know basketball. That's the point. She is the best player on the team. She's the best facilitator. She's the best point guard in the game. You know what I'm saying? Aaliyah Boston, she's going to have big games, especially playing with Caitlin. She's going to have big games. Even when they went on that 4-game winning streak, she had big games. And then she kind of like stated the course. She just had time to have a big game. She had a big game. She deserved to have a big game sometime. Caitlin don't mind taking a back seat. She's all about winning and team building. Whether she get the glory or not, she don't care. But people wants to go out here and take shots and talk about, oh, she's not the best player on the team because somebody had a great game. Y'all idiots. I just want to say that. Y'all are idiots. But anyway, the Fever play next against the Dallas Wings on Wednesday. The last game of the first half of the season until they go into the All-Star break and to the Olympic break. So that will give the Fever enough time to heal, come back stronger, fresher. I think you're probably going to see Caitlin Clark in another different realm after this. She's going to probably spend a lot of time working on her craft. That's a lot. Same for others. I think you're going to see a better condition of Damiris Dantas coming back in. I think Tammy Fabelli should be back by that time because I think when they come back, they play home against Phoenix. So that should be interesting. I think Tammy Fabelli plays. I don't know what's going to happen with the roster from this point on. But, was I happy with this game? I'm happy that they got the win. The way the game was played, No, I'm not happy with it, because the fact of the matter is, Chrissy Size could have easily lose this game. And she don't understand what kind of player she has in Caitlin Clark. Allow Caitlin do what Caitlin does best. If you just step back and say, hey, we're going to run your system, but I would like to coach you along the way to see different things. If you build that player-coach relationship, they will have a better understanding. But Chrissy Size, she wants all the credit. She don't want Caitlin to be the focal point of the team, but you can't not have a team without her being the focal point, because you can't count on Wheeler. You can't count on Wallace. You damn sure can't count on Kelsey Mitchell. So the one person that you could count on is Caitlin Clark to get you in the right direction. If you allow her to be her, hell, you gonna get just as success as she does. And matter of fact, Caitlin gave her flowers for one of the plays in the fourth quarter that she drew up. This is the kind of player that Caitlin is. You could do everything that you want to her, but she show you time and time again that she knows how to overcome. She don't wear her feelings on her sleeve like some players in the WNBA. She don't get mad. She's a competitor. She used that on the court. But when she's talking to the media, it's always pleasant. It's never no taking shots at other people, but you got other people taking shots. Oh, and Cheryl Reeves, I got something for you in the next video. But I hope you like that humble pie that Caitlin Clark gave you. And matter of fact, at the beginning of that monologue that I showed y'all, if you take a pic and look, Caitlin Clark was staring directly at Cheryl Reeves. So, but take it for what you wish. But at the end of the day, the Fever is 11-14. I think 11-14, 11-12 right now. Yeah, they're 11-14. They got a chance to get the 6th seed. They have a strong case to get the 6th seed. And they putting some distance between them and Chicago right now. Because Chicago is getting the same schedule that Indiana got in the beginning. And they play Tuesday night, they play the Aces, which that's a loss. So we don't know, but all in all, another win for the Fever. I mean, sometimes we want the games to be exciting, but I understand that. But indeed, to me, I feel like these are games that the Fever need to learn how to win, grind them out games. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of few games that they have let slip through the cracks. You know, they allow teams to jump on them, and then they got to find a way to dig themselves out the hole and everything like that. But, again, the Fever won. That's all that matters. But you can tell there's friction in that locker room between coach and players. Definitely between Size and Caitlin Clark. And now you can add Melissa Smith to that situation. Because like I said before, I believe Melissa Smith days are numbered as a Fever. I believe so. I don't know when the trade deadline comes, or I think the trade deadline comes in August. So don't be surprised they trade Melissa Smith for somebody else. Hell, they probably sent her to the worst team. So who knows? But again, I will be back again with another video because I got to do this video on Cheryl Reeves. Boy, sometimes revenge is a disturbed cold, best cold, and she got that. She got it today. Anyway, this is your boy LiveWire Sports Media. Again, I'm out. Peace.